frequently asked question number 74. Will succulents die in rain? Now yes, if there is consistent rain, the succulents, the sensitive ones, will start to die first, but there are certain varieties like Sedum Adolphus or Sedum Golden Glow. They might be able to handle rain, but I'm not very sure because it depends upon how often it tends to rain in your city. Now for example, in my city it tends to rain 24/7, be it day, be it night, it starts to rain. That is the reason why I start keeping up the plastic. Now the reason why I use plastic is because it's going to be raining throughout the week, and due to which the soil is going to stay moist, because remember, succulents prefer their potting mix to dry before the next watering. The soil has to be completely bone dry before you water it again. But during the monsoon season, what happens is that it tends to rain continuously and it doesn't give an option for the soil to dry completely, due to which there is a high risk that the succulents will get burnt. And that's why you can see I have put a plastic sheet. Now let's say if you are from a location, or if you are from a place wherein, let's say that it rained today and your succulents were all open, and now probably it's going to rain next probably after 3 weeks or 4 weeks. In that case, it's absolutely okay. You do not need to cover your succulents. All you have to do is just blow off that excess water from the leaves. But in some places it doesn't rain that consistent. It tends to give a lot of break in between. Like for some people it tends to rain only once a month, and probably the next rain might be after 2 or 3 months. It depends from environment to environment. It differs from different places. Now in my case it's not the same. It rains every day, probably day and night, so I can't take that option of keeping them open. So the moment it starts to rain, I put up a plastic sheet because the soil is already wet. I did not realize it, and the soil was already wet, so I immediately had to cover them up with plastic. Otherwise they will definitely get rotted. Now you have to ensure that if you are growing your succulents in ground, and if there is water logging in, you have to ensure that you raise your garden bed, because you do not want your succulent roots to be sitting in flooded water. Always have a soil mix that has a well draining capacity. Now definitely if you are from a place, again, when it tends to rain, probably in 1 week, if it tends to rain 2 or 3 times, then you have to ensure that you have a pot that has a drain hole. Now if you're going to keep a pot that does not have a drain hole out in rain, definitely your succulent will get rotted. So there are a lot of things that you need to keep in mind, because the rains can definitely damage your succulents to quite an extent, wherein some can even get rotted with root rot. So you have to be extremely careful. Again, it depends from environment to environment. For some people it doesn't rain quite often, so they are lucky, but for me it is not, because I'm from a tropical environment. I have a proper dedicated 6 to 7 months wherein it tends to rain day and night. So I definitely cannot, one, I cannot grow my succulents in ground. Secondly, I cannot keep them open out in rain. So that's the reason why I have to use plastic. So if you, to be on the safer side, I would say just cover your succulents. Or let's say that you read the forecast and it says that it's going to be raining for another 2 or 3 days, then yes, you will have to be careful. First, move your succulents. If you have any succulents that are in pots that do not have a drain hole, you'll have to move them away. And apart from that, if there are any succulents that are in heavy soil or clay soil, again, those succulents are also at a higher risk of getting damaged. So you have to be extremely careful. That is why, guys, I do not take a chance. I make the soil mix same for all of my succulents, which is loose, porous and well draining. I use concrete pots with drain holes, so that by chance, if it happens to rain as well, my succulents do not sit in a pot that is completely filled with water. So I do not take that chance. So that's all about it, guys. Yes, the rain can damage succulents, so you have to be extremely careful. For a lot of us who are from tropical environments, you know how the rain is. It can continue for a longer period of time, so it's always better to take this precaution of either covering up your succulents with plastic, or you can move them in a place where the rain does not directly fall on the soil or on the succulents. And in case if the succulents do get wet with rain, like if there are water droplets on the succulents, it's always advisable to blow off the water from the succulent leaves. So guys, that's all about it. I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe and keep planting.